You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
They say the truth sets you free. That is, unless you're Blake Lively. Then you send a subpoena, lose in court, and pretend it's all part of some grand conspiracy. But Blake doesn't just lose with silence. Oh no, she loses loud. She loses with 8 attorneys flanking her like she's about to storm the Capitol, except the only thing under siege is her own deposition, which, by the way, took place at her own legal team's office. So riddle me this. Did Blake make her own lawyers leave their own building so they could re-enter it surrounding her for a faux heroic entrance? Nothing screams I'm innocent like needing your entire legal battalion to walk you into their own building. And what was that entrance even for? Because according to new court filings, it definitely wasn't to provide a coherent argument for subpoenaing Wayfarer's lawyer, Bryan Freedman. In fact, it seems the only thing she walked into was a brick wall. But the photo op didn't save her when the real spotlight hit: cross-examination. And now we know why. See, we just got fresh court filings and baby, it's not good. First, Lively's legal team is having a full-blown meltdown trying to strike Bryan Freedman's July 24 declaration from the record. Why? Because in it, Freedman exposes that Blake cracked like a cheap vanity mirror in her deposition. She admitted, under oath, that the only smear campaign she could personally identify had nothing to do with Wayfarer or Justin Baldoni. Yep, after all those dramatic accusations about untraceable digital armies, all that courtroom chest-beating about reputational ruin, her big smoking gun was apparently a dud. But it gets worse. Freedman's declaration didn't just show her case was built on shifting sands, it blew holes through it like Swiss cheese in a shotgun blast. And Blake's team knew it. That's why they scrambled to strike his words off the docket. But this is litigation, not PR. You don't get to undo reality just because it makes you look bad. The judge can smell damage control when it walks in wearing designer heels and panic perfume. Blake's crew is now claiming that Freedman's declaration is a media stunt, their actual words. The same team that fed inflammatory headlines to the New York Times is now crying foul because Freedman dared to give a response with receipts. Imagine torching someone's career and then filing a motion because they had the audacity to say, "Here's what really happened." It's giving. You don't get to talk back. I'm the victim here. Even better, in the new documents, Blake's lawyers pull a full-on Darvo. They're arguing that Freedman is somehow the problem because he defended his clients publicly after Blake went scorched earth on them in the press. That's like someone stealing your car and suing you for calling the cops. Let's talk about the latest filings. Team Blake just had a public meltdown because, brace yourself, the defense had the audacity to file her full 292-page deposition transcript. Not leak it, not fake it, just file it, like lawyers do in court. But oh no, not for Blake. Her lawyers are demanding the court strike the entire transcript from the record, not seal it, strike it, like it's radioactive, like it never happened. Imagine being so publicly shaken by your own words that you try to legally delete them from existence. Their whole argument isn't that the transcript is false, it's that it hurts her. They don't say it's inaccurate, they say it's harmful. Lively's lawyers want to strike the entire deposition excerpt that shows Blake admitting she has no evidence of a smear campaign. Why? Because they say including it is prejudicial. No shit, Sherlock. Facts are prejudicial to lies. They also claim the filing was a PR stunt because God forbid the public see the real Blake Lively, not the Instagram-filtered version, not the curated survivor. Just Blake, under oath, saying things that don't line up with the brand. It's not just about the law anymore, it's about control, narrative control. And this isn't just a bad look, it's legally weak. The defense team is leaning hard on New York's absolute litigation privilege, which protects statements made in and around legal proceedings. The same protection Blake's team used when they dragged Baldoni's name through every gutter they could find is now protecting Baldoni and Freedman from her retaliation claims. They even dragged in TMZ, accusing the defense of leaking to them because a story went up during the deposition. Because yeah, clearly Wayfarer runs TMZ now. That must be how this works. Then they went full think of the children and said publishing the transcript hurts harassment victims everywhere, as if Blake didn't weaponize her own story first, as if she didn't drag 100 creators into court and fire the first PR missile. But they weren't done. Enter exhibit number 527 of pure bullshit. A motion to sanction Justin's attorney, Bryan Freedman, because he's been too public. They're mad he went on a podcast, mad he did interviews, mad he said things they didn't like, on the record, with zero confidentiality breaches. They even cited a joke he made about selling tickets to her deposition. A joke. Blake's team dumped a pile of receipts. Billy Bush interviews, TMZ quotes, People magazine headlines, and tried to spin it as if Freedman is waging psychological warfare. Let's be real, this isn't about professionalism, it's about power. It's about silencing someone for responding with facts and sarcasm. It's about punishing someone for not bowing to wannabe Hollywood royalty. It shows just how scared they are. You don't try to strike real documents unless you know how bad they make you look. You don't demand sanctions for speech unless that speech hit too close to home, and you don't cry harassment while launching a subpoena assault unless you've already lost the PR war. So now we've got Blake Lively trying to erase her own words from existence, crying harassment over media interviews, and blaming the internet for noticing the mess she created. But the thing is, truth doesn't need a PR team, and credibility doesn't file to strike a transcript just because it makes them look bad. This isn't a smear campaign. It's not a conspiracy. It's just receipts, and Blake's team is acting like something is wrong with us for reading them and calling her on her bullshit. So if you've ever had a boss who weaponized victimhood, a coworker who started drama then blamed everyone else, or just enjoy watching ego-driven multimillionaires lose control of a story they wrote, hit that subscribe button. Because Blake and Ryan aren't running this narrative anymore. The internet is. And just in case I wind up in court, just remember, these are all just opinions, Your Honor. But if telling the truth about Blake Lively's own words is now considered unprofessional, then maybe, just maybe, the real problem isn't the commentary. It's her character. And also, again, Justin Baldoni didn't make me say that.